much. This being something that our state has said, this is going to be some relief to you, the homeowner, the property owner, the business owner. I assume that they're going to reimburse the lost tax revenue to the local municipalities, the county, the towns, and the villages, who this is going to be affecting financially.
There's language in the law about school districts and that issue, but there's no language in the law about the impacts on the local districts.
So this is a classic state riding in on their horse to save the day at the expense of the local municipalities.
On the other hand, you know, one of the things that Fred talked about in A and B, the state is giving income tax relief for this.
I'd be curious to see which one's bigger at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, you know that. And the state is making the disaster relief available. So the state is doing some
They are
stuff, but
doing
you're
their part.
absolutely right. It's
They're handing out other people's money.
Exactly. Ben.
Yeah, we talked about our Ways and Means, and basically, from my understanding is that they'll give the relief at the expense of the rest of the taxpayers in Cayuga County. And a number of us express our concern with that. And so, because of that reason, I would not be supporting it.
Well, and one point of clarification that maybe someone asked, do we have any idea of the extent of the damage?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't know if there are any FEMA records
I
that are
don't
out
think
there,
yet.
but I don't have any idea.
I asked recently, but Terry?
Yes, Fred mentioned that the southern end of the county is not included in this, but it goes through July 1st. The big storm that hit the south was July 1st. So I don't know.
Yeah, I spoke with the state about that today, and the answer to that, according to the office that's administering that, is it's unclear, uncertain. But it's definitely July 1st. As you know, there were a series of storms. Anything after the 1st is not covered for sure. Whether or not that damage on the 1st would be covered is, according to the I can't think of the name of the office, but I have the name of the office and the guy I spoke to, is not at this point clear at all. And the other complication, I think, is the separate, as you know well, what happened on the 1st versus what happened on the 2nd, 3rd, on the 7th. And so but it's that remains unclear and will be unclear for a while.
Well, I'd like to say that I would, even if the south end of the county was included in it, is in the future, I would be against doing this for the same purpose of what you already said. The other taxpayers just pick up the burden of these reductions, and if the people that are damaged, if they do not repair their property, then they can ask for a reassessment. If they do repair it, they don't need a reassessment. That's my position on it.
Mr. Lattimore.
Fred, do you have a recommendation? Neil, do you have a recommendation?
Fred?
I don't have a recommendation, other than if you're going to do something, you need to do it fairly quickly. The time frames are tight. You'd have to have a special meeting in the first full week of August to set a public hearing by the 22nd. I don't have a recommendation.
Yeah, and if I may, in terms of Neil responding, the question before us tonight is not whether or not to do this. The question before us tonight is whether to direct Fred to develop a local law, have a public hearing on that law and make a decision. And at that point, once we send that local law through committee, that would be the point at which we would turn to staff for recommendation. Yes, Mr. Lattimore.
Could this be phase 1, and then phase 2? Is there maybe more legislation coming behind this to make us
not now?
To make us whole later?
Not that I've heard. As you know, the state legislative branch is out of session till what, November? So unless they're called back, and I'm not aware that they're being called back.
And as I say, I spoke with some people about that today in Albany, and there was no indication of that. That doesn't mean it won't happen. But let's forward.
I mean, I think it's worth at least kicking around to moving forward for next month. You know, I mean, here's the thing. Ben and Terry bring up the point that sometimes other segments of the population have to support or prop up a targeted or a certain group of the population. I mean, that's certainly, there's an importance to that. They might not see it as beneficial here, but it is beneficial as a society that to help out a group of people collectively, the other group supports or props up the group. And I just wanted to make that statement because I think it's important that it shouldn't be like that, but it is, and it's beneficial as a society.
Okay. Okay, well, I think what we'll do, maybe we'll actually have a vote to whether to direct you.
To draft the local law.
Yeah, because I don't know how else to do it.
Set a public.
So I think that the only practical way to do this is to entertain a motion, if someone wants to make a motion, to instruct our county attorney, sorry, to draft a local law that would be presented at a special meeting, which I would set, I'd look at the calendar and set a date tomorrow. So that would be, if someone wants to make that motion.
Move it.
Who moved it?
This
Okay.
is a special public hearing.
We have to have a special meeting to set a thing for a special meeting. Okay. So,
Who was the motion on that?
And who's second? Thank you.
so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, who's opposed?
Aye.
Baxter, Bennett, Vitale, Batman.
What's that for?
And
Just a quick question. Fred, you said that it had to be done by the 24th?
It has to be, yes, it has to be
So
adopted
we
by
could do it
the...
at our regular meeting on the 22nd. We don't have to have a special meeting.
We
We
have to have
do
a
because it's a
special meeting.
local law,
Gotcha.
so that, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I think that passed.
Try to get out.
Okay, I think, oh no, before we go to executive session, we had one more piece of business Mr. DeForest wanted to bring up.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion for Open Human Services Resolution authorizing the county legislature and the Director of Community Services to create and fill a part-time staff development supervisor position in the Department of Social Services. This and another resolution were presented and tabled during our May 2017 legislative meeting as a result of a hiring freeze. My understanding is to reintroduce the resolutions. A motion must be made and seconded to proceed for each resolution. These resolutions were approved in Health and Human and Ways and Means Committee during the May meetings, and I present the motion to you and the legislature for your consideration.
Second.
So we have a motion to create and fill a
Staff development.
staff development person. Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that passes.
And, Mr. Chairman, the second resolution is authorizing the county legislature and Director of Community Services to create and fill one social services attorney position in the Department of Social Services.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's second? Did you get it?
Tucker.
Okay. Okay, so is there any discussion? Mr.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I know we go back to May and all that. I'd like to know what kind of savings or what kind of reward did we see by waiting the additional 3 months or 2 months to creating this position?
Well, I think, is that question me?
To whoever.
Well, I think the reason for the hiring freeze was not to save money. The reason is to look at the impact of the state budget and see what impact might be going forward. What we learned from that is that we are going to have some substantial financial impact next year, but particularly the year after and the year after that. And that was the reason to take stock of where we are. It's one of the reasons I'll vote against this, is because it seems to me, as we look ahead the next couple of years, this may in fact not be the highest priority. It may be, but we don't know what other positions are going to be coming through in the budget process. in 2018. That was the whole idea of the freeze, to begin to get a feel for that. And we did get a feel. We got a feel that indicates we're going to have some real financial problems as we look ahead. So that was the reason for the freeze. Mr. Dennison?
Was this, refresh my memory, to take the job of this, that this attorney would be doing out of the county attorney's office? Is that how this went?
No. This is a new position in Department of Social Services.
But what was, who was doing it before? Who was doing whatever this attorney's going to do before?
It was done by the staff attorneys.
There's presently already attorneys in that department?
Yeah, there's 1.5 attorneys and, or 1 3/4 attorney in the Department of Social Services and part-time, how much? Half-time that does child protective? No, the office.
The social services stuff is primarily done in
Right.
DSS. We're doing Medicaid and child support.
So we're just adding another attorney, is
Yes.
what you're saying?
Right. Mr. Vitale?
I will not be supporting this. Last year, we had a discussion of why we moved attorneys into that department, and we were told that by moving the attorneys, we were going to resolve a lot of these problems. And now we find out that we have another attorney, and I guess it bothers me when we're promised something and then not delivered. So for that reason, I won't be supporting it.
Any other comments, questions? Are we ready to, Ms. Bennett?
I'd like to say I'm supporting this because it also bothers me when we're promised something that we're not given it either, because we were promised this position back in May and we were not given it.
Very good. Ms. Foley?
For those that didn't attend HHS during when this was originally submitted, do we know the ramifications of not supporting an extra attorney in his office or in that office? It probably is needed supporting child services cases or whatever may be. I'm not sure. I just want to know if anyone has that information to share tonight.
Well, the body has that information if they attended either that HHS meeting or Ways and Means or read the minutes. So,
Right.
yes, that's all available. Are we, any other comments? Are we ready to vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
So I think 3 opposed. Okay, so it passes. Okay, very good. So I think, is there any other business to come before the board before we have an executive session? Mr. Lattimore?
Under old business, Chairman, I had asked previous administrator to give us the impact of closing of the nursing home in regards to the dollar amount and the number of employees that were relieved from when we got out of the nursing business, and then our home health people, as to what that impact did for our overall budget. I'd still like to have that if human or HR. I mean, at one point we had 900 employees, and now we have 700 employees. Or I'd like to know where we are with the employee count.
Yeah, I think we did get such a report, but I'll see if I can find it. If we didn't, then you want the impact of the closing on employment and budget?
Yeah, how many employees we had when we were in the nursing home business, and how many we have since we've been out of the nursing home business? In the home health.
Okay, so that I'm clear, so I get the right information, because you've said 2 different things. We've added and taken away people unrelated to the nursing home. Do you want specifically the impact on the nursing home? How many employees were not?
What our employee count is now, and what it was when we had the nursing home. And
Okay, well, you understand that won't be all related to the nursing home.
But
We
I mean,
just
it's-
approved the
it's nice
position here
for this
tonight.
board to know, when we change our operations, is that what it does to our budget, our bottom line, and to how much money we need to ask from our tax base.
Okay. I'll see. I think we had a report, but if not, I'll see if I can find it. And if not, I'll put one together, ask people to do so. Okay. Any other business? Okay, in that case, if I could have a motion. for-
Motion to go to executive session.
Second, okay. So we're in executive session. I do not anticipate any action afterwards.